I call the meeting of the San Juan Unified School District Board of Education to order. There are no visitors in the audience for visitor comment. Can you confirm that, Trent?
That is confirmed. We have nobody in the waiting room.
Great, thank you. At this time, we will move into closed session to consider student expulsions in 3 cases and to conference with legal counsel, potential litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 5 of Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection E, 1 case related to threatened California voting rights action. I call the meeting of the San Juan Unified School District Board of Education back to order. Due to the executive orders issued by Governor Newsom due to the COVID-19 outbreak, tonight's meeting is being conducted via the Zoom platform. The meeting is being audio and video recorded, and the recording may capture sounds and images of those attending this meeting. The recording will be posted on the district website. To help manage bandwidth and ensure a smooth experience, we ask that attendees leave their video cameras disabled unless they're offering a public comment. You will be invited to start your video during the public comment. This is a new format for us. We thank you for joining us and thank you in advance for your patience as we try this new tool in an effort to maximize access and participation during this time of social distancing and other restrictions. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag, United
States of America,
and to
the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben, for the provision of the flag. Good evening and welcome. I'm Paula Viescas, Board President, and joining me tonight is Dr. Michael McKibben, Board Vice President, Ms. Zima Creason, Board Clerk, and Ms. Pam Costa and Mr. Saul Hernandez, Board Members. Superintendent Kern and other staff members are also in attendance. Before we begin, I'd like to review the 2 methods that are available to submit public comments for tonight's meeting. You may send an email to boardcomment@sanjuan.edu. I'll repeat that one more time. boardcomment@sanjuan.edu. Comments that were emailed before 6 p.m. today have already been shared with all board members. Comments emailed after 6 p.m. tonight, including those submitted during the meeting, may be read during the meeting depending on time restrictions. Comments may only be submitted on an agenda item up until the time that the agenda item has been discussed. The second option is on the Zoom platform, where you may use the raise your hand feature. When you are called on, you may share a comment via audio during the meeting. Please note that all comments are subject to a 2-minute limit, or approximately 300 words for written comments. With that, we are at item D, approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, and I'll ask my colleagues to unmute themselves just to make sure I'm capturing everybody. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for March 31st?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Jason, seconded by Mr. Hernandez. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. Costa, just as a matter of kind of housekeeping, do you mind unmuting so that we can get it?
I've unmuted, but it's saying unstable bandwidth. So we'll see what happens.
I
Push
see.
okay. Push okay, Pam.
Okay.
Okay. With that, we are at organization announcements, item E. Mr. Allen, do we have any reports from staff, board-appointed district committees, employee organizations, or other district organizations?
We do have one request to speak from an employee organization, Mr. Bill Simmons with SJTA. And Mr. Simmons, your microphone has been unmuted.
members of the board and Superintendent Kern, I want to thank you and all the employees of San Juan Unified for all of the efforts made on behalf of our students to continue their learning during this historic health crisis. I have been out at our schools as we have distributed thousands of Chromebooks and other materials to connect our students to distance learning. I have also participated in virtual planning meetings with practitioners that serve our students from infant toddlers through adult ed, and have watched much learning and collaboration with care and concern for our families as we make this transition to distance learning together. The support and leadership that Mr. Kern and his team have provided to all employees has helped us collaboratively make this remarkably rapid move with a focus on all of the needs of our students during this trying time. It is with a heavy heart that I share with you the death of a respected colleague and friend to so many of our teachers, staff, students, and families. Last Thursday, Russ Abraham died at Mercy San Juan Hospital from COVID-19. Russ was a beloved retired music specialist who taught at Dewey Elementary School and built strong relationships with his students and colleagues and families over his long career. He also continued contributing to music programs and performances around the district after his retirement. Last week, Russ's students honored Russ and the healthcare workers that cared for him by serenading Mercy San Juan Hospital with songs that he taught them. Many of the students were in high school, college, and beyond. You can see that performance by going to the San Juan Teachers Association Facebook page. I asked our practitioners last week, as they begin distance learning, to bring Russ's spirit with them. Because in 10 years, our students will not remember the specific equations, adjectives, or facts that they learn over the next 9 weeks, but they will remember that their teacher cared about them during this worldwide pandemic. All of the students and staff that encountered Russ Abraham knew that he cared for them. During this extraordinary time, I am proud to be a part of San Juan Unified, a district that truly cares about all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Mr. Allen, have there been any other indications of individuals wanting to speak for this item?
We have no other indications from any other employee groups at this time.
Okay, and seeing no one else using the raise their hand feature, we will move on to item E5, closed session expulsion actions. Ms. Creason.
The board voted unanimously to accept a hearing panel's recommendation of one suspended M10 and one expulsion in case S27, and also to accept, as written, one stipulated suspension expulsion in case number M13.
Thank you, Ms. Creason. We are now at item F, visitor comments. Mr. Allen, will you please give instructions to those in attendance via Zoom on how they can raise their hand if they have a comment at this time?
Certainly, President Villescaz. To our attendees, this portion of the meeting is for the public comment on topics that do not appear on tonight's agenda. If you would like to offer a comment about an item that is on tonight's agenda, please hold your comment until that agenda item is called. If you'd like to make a comment on a topic that is not on the agenda, we would ask that you raise your hand at this time. To do so, please locate the participants button located at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Clicking or tapping that button will display the participant list. If you look at the bottom of the participants list, you will see the raise hand button. Please click the raise hand button if you'd like to offer a public comment on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda.
And we've got a couple of people who've raised their hands. I didn't see that the order indicated isn't indicated. So Mr. Allen, do you want me to just call on them one by one, or do you want to give them?
I think if you'd just like to go down the order, and I will lower their hands as you call on them so we keep track.
Okay, we'll start with Gianna Nosetti, and then kind of on deck will be Tom Puglia. So Gianna, if you can unmute, there we go. You may begin.
Hello, San Juan Unified School Board members and Superintendent Kern. My name is Gianna Nocetti, and I'm a junior at Rio Americano High School. I am also a student athlete who has participated at the varsity level in both water polo and swim since my freshman year. I wanted to take this time to address the new credit, no credit system that is being put in place for the spring semester. While this proposed solution of credit, no credit was created to not harm students, it does create issues for those students who have high grades in honors, AP, and IB courses. My proposal is for students to have the option to request a credit, no credit grade or their existing letter grade as of their school closure date. This solution was listed in the frequently asked questions for grading and graduation requirements released by the California Department of Education, and would not place an undue burden on teachers, who I understand have to care for their families during this time. This will also allow for San Juan students to be more competitive in college admissions. Because many colleges have stated that they will not require SAT or ACT scores, GPAs will count more than ever. For me personally, having the option to select a letter grade would result in a 4.83 GPA, thus raising my cumulative GPA. When applying to some of the most competitive universities in the country, every advantage helps. In closing, I believe my suggestion creates a fair and reasonable option for all involved, including students, teachers, and administrators. That said, I would like to thank all of you for allowing me to speak this evening and for all that you are doing for the students of the San Juan Unified School District. Your efforts on our behalf are truly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianna, for both joining us and for your comment. And I did forget one kind of small order of business before we go to our next public comment, and that's I would like to remind the public that comments are limited to 2 minutes. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, the board is not allowed to comment on items that are not on the agenda, so we are not ignoring your comments. We just can't respond to any one individual comment. The superintendent can refer items to staff, who can then follow up with you. I've since not, I no longer see Tom, Trent. I'm not sure if that matches your screen.
It does appear that Tom lowered his, oh, there we go. And
Puglia, you're up next, and I'll take a moment to invite anybody else to raise their hand at this time to indicate they would like to speak after Mr. Puglia if they would like to. You may begin, Mr. Puglia.
Hi, yeah, my name is Tom Puglia. I have a daughter who is a high school at Rio Americano High School student, and I want to talk about the credit, no credit standard. You know, the California Department of Education gave a directive on the distant learning grading plan to all the LEAs, and I will quote, it said they should weigh their policies with the lens of equity and with the primary goals of first, doing no harm to students. This credit, no credit policy does severe harm to students who are high achievers. They are being denied the grades that they have earned, that they were told that they would be rewarded with for their scores, and they are not going to be getting recognized for that. And the AP credits are going to be completely washed out. Those points go away. They're avoiding that semester, aren't going to count it, and those AP points are gone, but every other kid is going to have those AP points. Furthermore, all of the other major school districts in this area, Sac Unified, Elk Grove Unified, Natomas Unified, have all said that they're going to do no harm. They're truly going to do no harm, as the state directive says. And what they're going to do is allow every child the opportunity to keep the grade they had at the time that school closed or raise it. This allows all of those kids that are severely and adversely affected by COVID-19 to be held harmless, and also allows those who have worked hard and have earned the grades they deserve and that they need to compete to get the grades that they have earned. And so I know you can't comment on it, but you need to act on this. You guys are outliers. You're the only board of all the major ones in Sacramento that is doing this. Twin Rivers additional, they're doing the same thing. Everyone's doing it a different way to accommodate those kids that need it, and to allow those kids that have earned those grades to be rewarded for what they have earned. You guys are the outlier. You guys are on an island, and you guys are harming our kids, and you got to change it, and you need to deal with it now, because there's a lot of us who are really motivated, and it's only going to get more and more pressure growing. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Puglia. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Allen if you could state one more time the directions for people to indicate a desire to speak and offer visitor comment. We've had a couple of people join since then.
Absolutely. If you are on the meeting with us and you would like to offer a public comment at this time on an item that is not on tonight's agenda, we would ask that at the toolbar across the bottom of the Zoom screen, you find the participants button. If you click that button, you will see a list of the participants that are in the meeting. At the bottom of that screen, you will see a raise hand button. If you will click that raise hand button, that will indicate to us that you would like to offer a public comment, and you'll be offered 2 minutes to do so. We have one person with their hand raised at the moment.
So our next visitor comment is L. You can unmute your line now, and the next person will be Casey Moraka, who will then follow L. L, you may begin.
Hello. First of all, I want to thank. I'm Elle Easley. I'm a parent of a senior at El Camino, Fundamental High School. I want to thank you guys all for your hard work and dedication to ensure the safety of the students and the staff. I am reaching out to plead for all the high schools in San Juan Unified School District for the class of 2020 that if you please do not cancel graduation if that has already been determined, but maybe just postpone it instead, and also leave it up to each individual school to fund or raise funds for their graduation. I believe that this is important to all the students who have worked so very hard and have already missed out on so many other events that the senior year brings. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Easley. I'm going to just state one more time kind of our practices around public comment, and then I will call on Casey. We've had a number of people join us since the beginning of the meeting. I'd like to remind the public that comments are limited to 2 minutes. Under the Ralph M. Brown Act, the board is not allowed to comment on items that are not on the agenda. So we are not ignoring your comments. We just can't respond to any individual comments. The superintendent can refer items to staff who can follow up with you. Casey, you're up next. Feel free to unmute your line and begin.
Hi, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Casey Moroka. I'm a parent of a 10th grader at Rio Americano High School, as well as an 8th grader at Arden Middle School. In addition to that, I've been a teacher in San Juan Unified School District. This is my 23rd year. And I'm calling to echo, or chiming in tonight to echo the sentiments of Gianna Nocetti and Tom Puglia on the credit, no credit situation that we have in place for our high schoolers for the remainder of the year. As a teacher, I really do understand that we have children in very different circumstances right now, and perhaps asking student A to complete a task or an assignment to the same degree or level as student B, when one student perhaps has advantages that another student does not, is not necessarily a level playing field when we are outside of the classroom. And I'm asking the board to also consider that awarding a grade of credit to a student who has a C or a D is a gift, and probably an appropriate one during these circumstances right now. However, giving that same grade of a credit to a student who's earned an A or a B is unfairly penalizing that student. My final point, I have plenty of them, but Tom and Gianna did a great job of covering them. But my final thing I wanted to mention is that the district has 3 objectives underneath its mission statement. And one of them is that student will engage in learning and persevere to achieve individual academic growth targets, demonstrating creativity, innovation, and readiness to succeed at the next level and pursue his or her dreams. And I think that by moving all of our students to a credit, no credit, kind of takes that whole persevere to achieve individual academic growth targets, as well as the pursue his or her dreams, right out of their teenage hands. And I'm hoping that the board can recognize that this is not in the best interests of our students. And while, again, it's not a level playing field for all students when we're outside of the classroom, surely there is a way that will allow us to meet the needs of all of our students in a fair manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. At this moment, I don't see anybody else indicating, oh, we've got one more hand raised. And then Mr. Allen, I just want to confirm that you're tracking the same, that we did receive one comment after 6 p.m. that you'll be reading after our next public comment participant?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I'm going to invite Ann Montgomery to share her remarks first, and then Mr. Allen, if you want to read that next, that would be great. Ann, if you want to unmute your line now and begin when you are ready.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi. Great. Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate what so many have said tonight about the pass, no pass. And I just like to really encourage our board to follow the lead of so many other districts in the area and just give our students the choice. I understand these are unprecedented times, and we certainly don't want to do anything that's going to harm students or students who don't have equal opportunity. We want to make sure that their grades remain the same, but just take the lead from other districts. Give students the choice so that if some of the high achieving students want to choose grades, that they can, and if others don't, that they don't have to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. At this moment, I don't see any other virtual participants indicating a raised hand. At this time, now would be a good time to do that, but I'm going to have Mr. Allen first read our submitted public comment and then give an opportunity for folks to raise their hand after that.
We have received 2 emails after 6 p.m. for general public comment. One of those gave comment via the Zoom meeting, so I will not read that comment. The other is from Gabriel Gomez Barando de Marino, and very much along the same comments as Elle, so assuming this is not the same person. As a parent of a senior at El Camino Fundamental High School, I thank you for your hard work and dedication to ensure the safety of students and staff. I'm reaching out to plead for the class of 2020 graduation to not be canceled, but instead postponed if needed until it is deemed safe for all parties involved. Thank you.
And at this time, we do have one more raised hand in our virtual platform. That's Ted. So Ted, I'll invite you now to unmute your microphone and begin when you're ready. Ted, if you're trying to speak, your microphone is still muted. I'm going to see if I can. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Am I unmuted now?
You are.
Good. Yes, I also want to add my 2 cents concerning the credit, no credit issue. The prior speakers were all quite eloquent, but I just want the board to realize that they're not the only people concerned about this issue. I have 2 kids, one in 8th grade at Winston Churchill and one in 10th grade at Rio Americano. And we as a family we're all very concerned when we heard about this proposal, and we certainly understand the difficult circumstances everyone is facing. But given the fact that other school districts have found that they were able to incorporate a grading system along with the option of credit, no credit, we think it's very important that our board respond in an equivalent manner and allow that option for the kids that desire it. And I had previously sent a letter to the board, and Mr. Messer responded to that letter, and I sent that response out to all the board members outlining all of the reasons that It's not an equivalent system, and it's not really a no-harm system to the high-achieving kids who will be applying to competitive universities. And despite reassurances to the contrary, I'm not at all reassured. And I think it is very important that kids do have the option to get letter grades if they choose that path until school resumes its normal functioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. I'm going to offer one more opportunity and a short pause here for any last individuals wishing to indicate a desire to speak. We do have one more person who's since raised their hand. We have Jay Senior's iPhone, and I could be way off on that, so I apologize in advance, but your microphone's now unmuted, so I invite you to offer your full name and begin your visitor comment at this time.
Thank you. My name is Jay Sriram. I'm a mom of a sophomore, 10th grade at Rio Americano. I second Ted and other parents who are spoke earlier for the grading system. I think for high achieving students, the option should be given to select the grade, no credit or credit. I would really appreciate if you consider those options. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. At this time, I see no other public comment, visitor comment. So we are now at item G, the consent calendar. Mr. Allen, do we have any public comments for items that are on the consent calendar?
We have not received any email comments for the consent calendar.
Do any board members wish to remove items from the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Costa. Is there a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Dr. McKibben. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous. We are now at business items, and we are at item I1, COVID-19 update. Superintendent Kern.
Thank you, Board President Villasquez, members of the board, and the community members who are here. I believe we are going to share the screen, so we're going to turn this over. So I'll wait until the screen goes to the PowerPoint, and then I'll start at that time. All right, we wanted to take the opportunity this evening to provide the board with an update on all of the activities that have been going on related to the work to get to distance learning and an update related to COVID-19. And so we're going to walk you through a number of pieces. There's going to be a number of folks that are going to present as well. And so as that happens, we'll just keep moving through this. So Melissa, if you can go to the next slide. So I'm going to start, the next two slides are really a timeline of events, but I wanted to read a quote just to start off from the superintendent of LAUSD. He quoted this a couple days ago. He said, "Even in the best of times, launching a comprehensive online learning program in a school district would be a monumental task, akin to landing on the moon. It would take years of careful planning, investment, training, and engagement with the entire school community. During extended school closures due to the coronavirus, LAUSD, and as well as most of the other districts in the state, are doing it in a matter of weeks because students most in need are counting on us." And I think that says a lot. The amount of time and energy that has gone into this has been monumental. I couldn't tell you how proud I am of the entire team and the work that they have put in during this time. You'll see a little bit here when we look at what was happening already in January and February. We were already bringing folks together. Trent was bringing the incident command team together and looking at what were potential situations that could have happened. For example, if we were to have to close, what would that look like? What would we start preparing for? So we were already starting to have these conversations. We were watching kind of what was happening on the national level. That was happening in January and February. And then when we move to the next slide and we look at March, immediately after the school was closed, we came out with some joint communications and some agreements with our bargaining groups, partially because we were already working with them. For example, we were able to implement office hours for our teachers the following week after school was closed, and I think that just goes to the partnership that we have. The last two bullets there, you're going to get more detail about nutrition services and technology deployment. But we have been able to provide nutrition at 27 different sites. So I think it just shows that we were thinking and we were getting ready to respond as quickly as we could, so that by the time we hit March and schools were closed, we were able to jump into action right away.
So as Superintendent Kearns shared, that although we were anticipating for the potential of closure, nothing could have really prepared us for this. Over the past several weeks, we had to be quick, nimble, and flexible as information changed day to day and at times hour by hour. As we navigated this road less traveled and at times not even traveled at all, we identified the following spring 2020 goals to serve as guideposts to help anchor us along the way. So really focusing on supporting the health and safety first and foremost of our students, staff, and community. Also looking to successfully graduate every eligible senior by June 2020. Engage students in learning and mastery of standards through distance learning, and continue to provide students with nutritious meals. We implemented a very ambitious Chromebook deployment program starting in March 25th, prioritizing secondary schools to support the launch of distance learning. Prior to spring break, we had deployed nearly 12,000 Chromebooks to students. Although this deployment focused on secondary students, we also provided Chromebooks to younger elementary students who attended secondary Chromebook distribution days. This week, currently, we are now focusing on deploying Chromebooks to our remaining 33 elementary schools, and we anticipate potentially over 7,000 more additional devices being distributed. Once elementary age students have the opportunity to get a device, we will focus our efforts onto transitional kindergarten and early childhood education programs. So at the time of this presentation this evening, we've already chipped away at a third of our 33 remaining elementary schools with deployment efforts. In our effort to ensure equity and access, we've distributed Chromebooks, iPads, and other assistive devices to our students receiving special education services. Examples of the assistive devices provided are things such as adaptive tricycles. We've provided standard devices which help place the user in an upright position. It provides stimulation to the bones and lower extremities, encourages head and trunk control, and improves respiratory function. We've also provided gait trainers which resemble a large walker and help our users walk independently. And we've also provided adaptive switches which help physically challenged students activate assistive technology devices that help them communicate. And I think Superintendent Kern, he would like to share some of the feedback he received during our Chromebook deployment events.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go out to many of the sites as we were deploying the devices, and I will tell you, we've gotten much more efficient at it from the first day when we passed out, I think, well over 1,000 devices at Encina in terms of implementing social distancing. But I had an opportunity to talk to families and even talk with them about how it was going for their students. At one of the elementary schools, there was a mother that was picking up a device for her kindergarten and a second grade student. And at first she wasn't sure she was going to pick up a device for both. But when she saw that we had enough devices, she decided to do that. And she was telling me that both of her students had already done a Zoom meeting with their teachers where it was just a connection where the teacher was checking in. And she was just so thankful that there were going to be devices, because she was still having to use her device for her work, but that students were going to have access to these devices. So, fortunately, we have had enough devices district-wide to be able to provide devices for all of our students that need them. And I would just say as well, Peter Skibitsky and his team in technology services have just done an amazing job. And the amount of time and energy to get all these devices out has been monumental. So thank you to him and his team.
As you know, nutrition distribution has been well underway, and we've had over 100,000 meals being served across 27 sites. When we first launched this program, we had interpreters on hand to assist in communicating with families regarding the meal program and answer any questions that they might have had. At the point of pickup, students receive a lunch for the day and a breakfast for the following morning. There's a note that's included in the packaging that families receive that asks them to please refrigerate the meals, and we've ensured that that's translated into multiple languages. With our goals and guideposts for our road less traveled around safety, mastery of standards, and graduating seniors, we've embarked on distance learning in 2 parts. Our first phase was launched following the point of closure on March 13th and continued through April 3rd. This phase involved the implementation of daily office hours, which was 4 hours in total, focused on the maintenance of learning by supporting students in reading, reviewing, and enrichment. To support this effort, we launched San Juan Cares to our staff and community. Within this document, the CARES stands for communicate, ask questions, read and review, enrich, and self-care. This CARES resource was developed by our Professional Learning and Innovation Department and spans our K-12 grade levels and includes subject-specific content and resources by grade level bands. Also during phase 1, we reactivated Apex, which is an online learning platform that helps students in grades 9 through 12 to complete courses and recover credits. This reactivation was offered for students who were previously enrolled in an Apex course. Since reactivating Apex courses on March 23rd, we've had 33 students complete a total of 36 courses. We are now exploring the opportunity of expanding our Apex licenses to accommodate increased student need around credit recovery. Yesterday, April 13, marked the launch of phase 2 for secondary schools, which this includes the middle grades at K-8 schools, middle schools, and high schools. During this second phase, we're focused on engagement in new content and coursework and mastery of standards utilizing a distance learning platform that involves both synchronous or real-time in-the-moment live instruction and or asynchronous work, which would be more like independent work done at different times. Following our launch of secondary distance learning, elementary distance learning will begin April 20th. And I know Superintendent Kern has someone he would like to introduce to us now.
Yeah, one of the things the board values, and I know they're missing already, is normally we have students present, and they'll talk about the activities they have and activities that are coming forward, and we don't always have that opportunity now. So I reached out to a student, and so we want to make sure that Melanie has access. Melanie, are you there, and do you have access to your mic?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Okay, so Melanie, before you jump in, we're going to pivot here. Melanie is the CEO at Kids Helping Kids. She's a senior at Del Campo High School. But we wanted to show a short little video, and I did not let Melanie know we were adding this, but she's going to talk about it a little bit afterwards. And then she's also going to talk about some of the activities that she's been involved in with distance learning. So I'll turn that over to Trent to start the video at this time. And then Melanie, after the video, you go ahead and jump right in.
Perfect, thank you.
Melanie, maybe you can narrate this since
Yeah, sure, of course. So right here, we're just going into a little more about our journey with Keaton's Child Cancer Alliance as an organization, as Kids Helping Kids. We've been partnering with them for 3 years. And so there was so much uncertainty in the world right now as seniors, as a society. We wanted to make sure that one thing was certain, and that was our commitment to value these families that need to be served, these families battling pediatric cancer in the Northern California region. And so we managed to have a Zoom meeting to give off our check for our contribution of the year, a $50,000 contribution to Keaton's Child Cancer Alliance.
So Melanie, you're on, so go ahead and take over from that point.
Yeah, so that was one of the many ways that Kids Helping Kids has used Zoom lately to organize and continue our daily operations. So we've been having Zoom meetings around 2 to 3 times a week, and we had Zoom meetings 2 to 3 times a week leading up to that giving ceremony, because we had to plan it as a team. We have different branches, and so we all had breakout sessions on Zoom, and we met as a class multiple times a week to make sure that we could coordinate it all together to be able to create that video as well, and meet our deadlines for Zooming good. And so it's been really helpful for us as a group on Kids Helping Kids, but I've also been using it in my classes, such as AP Stats. Our teachers have used it throughout these past few weeks. Almost immediately after school was shut down, we went straight into doing other work, which was considered optional, but most students did it, whether that was meeting up on Zoom multiple times a week in my AP Lit class, in my AP Psych class, to do class discussions and analysis practice and things like that. And we also have a Google Classroom for those who couldn't join us because they had work or something. They'd be able to go and still do the practice online that way as well. As we've been using AP Classroom for extra practice in most of my classes too. And then now, as school is officially starting again through distance learning, I know that we're taking makeup tests for us students that weren't there for one of the days of the test before school shut down. In my AP Stats class, we're doing a makeup test via Zoom, where the test will be screen shared, and we will be doing our own work on the side and sending a picture in through Google Classroom. So it's been working out for all of us, and even clubs have been using it to meet up. My SWAV group, Students with a Voice, we've checked in with each other through Zoom, and it's just been a really good way to keep us all connected. And again, I'm just very thankful to all the teachers and staff who've made this possible and who have helped us transition really easily over to this distance learning.
And Melanie, if you would stay on towards the end, if she'll stick around, so at the end, if you want to ask her some specific questions about her experience as well, you can do that.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Safety nets are a large area of focus for us as we embark on this new frontier. To support our school counselors, we are holding weekly video conference meetings and have set up shared resource platforms for them to collaborate on. To support our students, counselors are focusing heavily on evaluating transcripts and prioritizing seniors. In doing transcript evaluation, counselors are checking the transcripts to assure all courses needed for graduation are planned or they are in progress. They are monitoring APEX enrollments by adding additional students to courses who lack credit in recent courses that they've taken, and they're also checking on student progress within the course. They are assisting students with college application processes, including the writing of letters of intent and providing current and updated information regarding various college requirements and any potential changes that have been made due to the COVID-19 pandemic. To support our distance learning efforts, school counselors are focusing heavily on communication, specifically communication with current student caseloads regarding graduation, course planning, future opportunities, scholarships, summer school, and social emotional learning. Really, again, prioritizing our seniors. They're also focusing on social emotional supports and referrals to mental health by being available for families, students, and staff for referrals. They are collaborating with our registrars to help support a shift towards electronic official transcript submission to colleges. And then they're continuing to work on enrollment, course registration for next year, and also summer school recruitment and registration. In support of our English language learners, we've focused on ensuring access to resources and educational opportunities through the use of our English language development teachers, our bilingual instructional assistants, and cultural brokers. This has included parent and family phone call outreach in primary language and outreach and translation support during nutrition distribution and technology deployment. Looking towards distance learning efforts, ELD teachers are collaborating in job-alike groups as well as with classroom teachers to provide students with integrated ELD and designated ELD lessons, really emphasizing English language production during this time. Some future steps that we're working on in this area have to do with the seal of biliteracy, also the development of reclassification criteria now that state testing has been suspended, and summer school development and enrollment. As I mentioned earlier, not having a roadmap or past practice to follow has made these times extremely challenging to navigate, and this holds especially true when it comes to servicing our diverse learners. Following hours of consultation sessions and in considering recommendations from regional, state, and federal departments, the district distributed 5,500 prior written notices to families informing them of the shift towards distance learning and the kinds of supports available to students in special education during this time period. Some of the support provided to students may include things like web-based instruction, internet-based curriculum that includes links and videos, paper-based curriculum, access to audio learning at home, collaboration with general education teachers to determine appropriate accommodations and supports during this online learning environment, and holding virtual office hours, scheduled virtual appointments, or other instructional phone conferences for the provision of specialized supports. We do all this to ensure that students with disabilities have equal access to the same opportunities as general education students, and that to the greatest extent possible, each student with a disability can be provided with the special education and related services identified in their IEP developed under IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Support center staff have been focused on outreach to families and students who are on current caseloads with the intention of continuing academic and mental health support and providing information and referral services. Our school nurses continue to check virtually and support students with healthcare plans, as well as provide consultation services to families. And our hours for our mobile health vans have been expanded. These mobile health vans currently serve Howe Avenue, Edison, Greer, Encina, and Dyer Kelly.
In order to support our practitioners, we knew we needed to create cross-functional teams. And our collaborative relationships with all of our labor management teams was foundational to what was accomplished. When creating a cross-functional team, our goal was to invite any support specialists who were not in the classroom. And our mantra was simply, how might we support practitioners? And that was our guiding focus for coming together. So we invited specialists, coaches, TOSAs, like I said, anyone who is not in the classroom who could be available to help us build resources for our teachers. In looking at slide 13, we also, in thinking about moving to distance learning in a district this size, knew it was going to be a monumental undertaking. And in order to support our practitioners, we started by creating a needs assessment survey because we needed to know what they needed. So before we even thought about what we were going to offer, we asked our practitioners, what do you need? And each grade level team reviewed the survey data, and then we built our professional offerings and our trainings based on what our practitioners said we needed. In total, so far in the last three weeks, we have provided over 120 sessions of training, and to date, we've worked with over 2,600 practitioners. Just last week during spring break, we had 700 practitioners attend trainings, and those were both one-on-one, small group, and then larger group settings as well. So teachers were very interested and anxious to get support. So let's move to slide 14. Prior to spring break, the first phase of training was focusing on the platforms like Google Classroom, YouTube, and Seesaw. The team leads from each of our grade bands came together and reviewed information on what are best practices for fostering successful distance learning. And so after landing on some key strategies, the team created this document that you can see to the left. And it's really been our North Star. Every training we have, we start with this just to remind our practitioners what are the best practices as we launch distance learning. Our team of experts have also been able to customize trainings based on the practitioner needs. So like I said before, these can be super specific around content or grade level. That could be looking at a specific online tool. Practitioners also want the ability to come together in Zoom meetings without having a specific agenda or a tight timeline of things that they have to learn. So what we found is the ones that are the most popular, or where we just do kind of a Google Hangout and let the teachers come together and share best practices. Slide 15 will show us the hub. So in addition to building all of the resources and then also providing professional development, we also knew we needed some place that our practitioners could find all these resources. So in partnership with our communications team, we created the hub, which is a repository for all distance learning information. Administrators, practitioners, anyone who's interested is able to find upcoming trainings and information in one central location. In the upper right-hand corner of our slide, you can see an example of what our grade level teams put together. This is an example of a hyperdoc, and it has links on it. And so the teachers are able to go straight to resources, videos. This even links them to their curriculum for each grade level. So they can go straight to their English language arts materials straight from that document. And then also as new information or new resources become available, we are updating them daily. So these hyperdocs are changing and evolving as we find better resources. In addition, the leaders from each grade level band, we meet bi-weekly. We need to know how are things going. So each of our leads from the grade bands come together. We talk about what do we need, what's working well, and what are our next steps, so that we're really providing for our practitioners key areas of support. So let's look at slide 16. During some of our trainings for English language arts in the middle school, our team leaders kept talking about this one teacher who's doing phenomenal work. And she's just a natural leader. And so she really has been kind of a mentor for a lot of the other English language arts teachers. And so I want to show a video. Kimberly Heck is somebody who has really embraced distance learning, and key messaging that you'll see in this video is really around her embracing this new platform and being a learner and taking risks, and then really simplifying it. So if Trent or Melissa can play the video, we can hear what Kimberly has to say.
To you. As the San Juan Unified School District transitions to distance learning because of COVID-19, teachers across the district are trying to find innovative ways to engage with students through these difficult times.
To prepare for distance learning, I think probably the first 2 weeks was just reading anything and everything we could get our hands on. I began to play with it and start posting some of these things in my Google Classroom and asking the kids to kind of join me on the journey.
Churchill Middle School teacher Kimberly Heck says she has been working with her students to find what the new norm would look like for her online classroom.
So at that point, I said, what can I trim away? What's going to be most valuable? What's not going to overwhelm a child? And then lastly, like, how does my personality still come out to my kids we've already have this relationship with each other. So how do I still allow that to happen through a computer screen?
Through this research, HEC has created a fun and engaging lesson plan for her students that includes a novel report and a live quiz show.
And in those live sessions, I would invite them into the session, give them the code, and then they would all join the game, and I would project the game live so they could see the leaderboard, and then we could go back in and review questions that they missed, or questions in a row.
HEC says the biggest hurdle, however, will be working with students to make sure they can still get assignments and homework in on time.
First started, it was like, oh, give it to them today, they can turn it in tomorrow. No, that's not how it works. They need a couple of days to process and to go through the information because I'm not there with them to do that. So here is the final result.
Adding, most teachers didn't expect to become homeschool teachers, and it's okay to stumble along the way as long as we work together.
I think the biggest thing a teacher needs to do is to step back, really think about what is it you're trying to accomplish, and taking into account where we are globally right now and what is really realistic for our kids to kind of soak in. And then maybe take that information and lessen it a little more. And then
the district is providing resources to make the transition a little smoother. Some tips teachers are given include connecting with students and families regularly, breaking down the lesson into digestible chunks, balancing activities that require technology with those that do not, and using visuals to support oral and printed language in the lesson.
So that's just a little snapshot into the day of the life of a teacher who's now, trying to create connection with students in that virtual environment. This video is a great example of how teachers are trying to be innovative and creative and still capture attention of their students. Although there are many challenges associated with distance learning and launching this new endeavor, one positive thing that I just want to highlight that has come out of this, and you keep hearing the word collaboration through this entire presentation, and our teachers are all saying how appreciative they are that they're able to work together and have these learning communities where they can share ideas. And so Kimberly will be available at the end of this as well if you guys have any further questions for her, and I will turn it back over to Melissa.
So actually, Kristen, I'm going to take us through a couple of comments about the communication, helping everybody stay informed and on the same page, and some of the efforts we've done to do that. This has really been a big opportunity for us to implement those training and planning practices that we've had on the shelf and hoped we've never had to implement, but unfortunately we've had to. And communication is hard on a good day, but in chaos and uncertainty, it really becomes even that much more difficult. So as information has become available, our district and our school teams have worked very quickly to share it out. We launched a new microsite dedicated to housing only information related to the COVID-19 and our response, a one-stop shop at www.sanjuan.edu/COVID-19 that has had more than 30,000 unique visitors since its launch. We've also actively reached out to our families, both at the district and school level. We've sent 6 district-wide messages with our mass notification system specific to our COVID-19 response since March 13th. And it's important to note that with our mass notifications, as well as the content on our COVID-19 site, we've worked really hard to translate critical information into the major languages used by our students and our families in the district. Our translation team deserves a great round of applause for their efforts and all the hard work they've had to put in because they've had to translate a lot of material in very short amounts of time, and we've really appreciated everything they put into doing that. Finally, on this slide, I wanted to just note that the role of social media has played. This is an area we've really invested a lot of time and energy into building over the last several years, and we've seen those efforts help in a few ways during COVID-19. In social media metrics, it's about people reached and the engagements generated. Our initial closure announcement reached more than 188,000 Facebook users, generating more than 50,000 user engagements, more than 700 comments, and 2,000 shares. Posts since then haven't quite reached that level, but they've been one fantastic way for us to not only get information out, but to hear back from and engage with members of our community. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a couple of slides. One other area I wanted to highlight for you was our Family Resource Hub. It's a portion of our COVID-19 microsite that's incredibly important. Much like our Distance Learning Hub, the Family Hub was a collaboration between several departments that were committed to providing relevant and timely information to our parents. The Hub is currently active and will continue to grow with regular updates as we learn more about what our parents and students need. Right now, it covers resources like our own meal program, as well as community food banks, mental health solutions, and distance learning supports for parents and guardians, among other topics. Another benefit of the Family Resource Hub is that it has brought together a group of staff and others which continue to meet to discuss outreach strategies, how to connect with our most vulnerable students and families, as well as how to share best practices with our practitioners, especially as we launch into distance learning. And the final piece I want to touch on related to communication tonight is the parent community voice that we've heard. I want to leave you with a small sampling of some of that voice that we've heard, and you can see that on the screen. The voice we've heard is an acknowledgement that the needs in our community are varied and great. Hearing this voice has given us the chance to support our local, often unsung heroes. One piece of voice not listed on the slide is a hero parent that is a necessary worker at a pharmacy in the community. Needed at work, this parent was unable to make it to Chromebook distribution, so one of our senior technology staff members actually made a personal delivery to the home to ensure that student got a device. That's just one small example of how we've been able to adapt to the incredible need we've heard. While I'd like to say we've been able to meet every need, I can't, but I'm proud of how adaptable our teams have been and how we've listened to the individual needs rather than putting forward a single one-way solution. And that's the power that our community voice has been able to provide for us in sharing what those unique needs are amongst our individual community members.
All right, at this time, I'm going to cover the last slide. And as we look at moving forward, the things that I really want to call out here are, and we had a public comment about this already, was the issue of graduations. Graduations are a big issue at our big deal at our schools. And one of the things that I am doing is I put together a Zoom meeting a week from today for my Superintendent Students Advisory Committee. And I'm going to be reaching out to them and asking them what their thoughts are. We really wanted to start with student voice first, asking them, pardon me, what are your thoughts about a virtual graduation? What are your thoughts about graduation if we were still in a distance, social distancing platform? What would your thoughts be on graduation being delayed till a later date? So those are all conversations that are going to start next week with the student groups. And then from there, we'll get others involved. We really want to have an approach related to graduation or activities that is uniform across the whole district. We don't want each individual school doing their own thing. We're looking at summer school and developing a distance learning model for summer school. That will be how we proceed. We may not be able to provide as many or as robust programs as we've had in the past, but we still know that we have students that will need either credit recovery or other programs during the summer. So we're going to see what we can do, and we'll be having a clear plan what exactly that looks like in the coming weeks. And then lastly, we're really preparing for what August will look like as we reopen. Even after some of the comments made today by the governor, we're really not sure what the total impacts will be in August, but we want to be prepared for that. We're having conversations already with some of our bargaining partners, and we'll continue to do that so we are ready for the open of the 2020-2021 school year. And so at this time, Ms. Villescaz, I'll turn it over to you for questions from the board.
Thank you very much to all involved in the presentation. For ease, similar to the last meeting, we're going to go ahead and take comment and questions in the order that we would traditionally be sitting in if we were still at the dais. So with that, I'm going to begin with Mr. Hernandez.
President Villescaz, we do have one public comment that has come in via email if you'd like to do that before a board discussion.
Thank you very much. I did, not via Zoom, but via email, you indicated. Okay, if that's the will of my colleagues, and I can't see faces, but I'm going to make an assumption it's okay to listen to visitor comment first and then begin with Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Allen, do you want to read that visitor comment?
Absolutely. This is from Lance Christensen. In regards to the requirement to vacate all employees from schools, it is my understanding that the classrooms have all received a thorough cleaning and been sanitized. Acknowledging that surfaces and ventilation systems should be cleaned by now, when will teachers be allowed to go back into their classrooms to retrieve teacher plans, materials, and textbooks for their classes in distance learning? When can students retrieve their personal belongings also left behind in the classrooms, schools, and locker rooms?
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Seeing no other comment on this item at this time, nor any other individuals indicating raising their hand on Zoom, we will go back to questions and comments from my colleagues. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you. I just want to make a quick comment and appreciate the thorough report on this COVID-19 situation that we have got ourselves in. And I just can't tell you how proud I am of everybody in our district, the way they have responded. And this report actually exemplifies the manner in which San Juan has stepped up to the challenge. Thank you so much, Superintendent Kern, for this. I'm very proud of you and your staff and the manner and what we're doing to do the best we can for our kids. And just on a side note, and I appreciate you bringing in Melanie about Kids Helping Kids. I serve on the board of Kids Helping Kids, and that program itself is just such a unique program, what it does for not only what they do for other kids, but what it does for themselves. Melanie has been accepted to Harvard, and we are just so proud of her and her example, what she has done for Kids Helping Kids and all the kids in our district. So Melanie, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Ms. Costa?
Thank you. I want to echo what Mr. Hernandez said. I am so proud to be part of San Juan and the work of all of our staff members and our senior staff, our superintendent. I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine that it has only been 16 instructional days since school closed on March 13th until today. And when you look at this list and all of the actions of each of the slides of the list, I think as a board and the public watching this should just be in total awe of the work that's been accomplished. We used to laugh and say when things were tough that it was like flying an airplane while still building it. But this time we're flying an airplane while still building it when it could be flying through a field of virus. And the passengers aren't on the plane, they're on the ground that we're trying to serve, and we're trying to get information to them. And boy, staff has done an amazing job. When I saw the distance learning, I thought about, it's a few slides, and yet you think about legal services had to work on copyright and all the issues involving equity, and our curriculum department and the work that they have done with teachers and the professional development that's happened. The dedication of teachers to be taking classes over spring break and at every possible moment. And then you think of technology services. I was at a school today watching the Chromebook distribution, and it just gets better. Each time I go out and go to a school, I'm not getting out of my car, but I'm watching from a distance and saying, this just gets more impressive every single time. But then it's more than that. It's helping teachers with the platforms, it's the hot spots, and it's the endless questions that they're answering. And you look at our interpreters and our ELD teachers and our special education staff and what they're doing for our kids. It came to as simple of a thing as, how do you schedule so that the teacher for English language arts is not teaching at the same time as AP math class? And so all of the work to set up those schedules. So you look at 16 days and you know that's not truth, because you know that everybody's been working 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. And So if you think that, it's been 32 days since we closed school and all this has happened. So thank you, San Juan. I'm really proud to be part of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Costa. Ms. Creason?
Thanks, and I too am incredibly thankful of how much has been done so fast. I do have a couple of questions and thoughts. So question about access. So I'm so excited that we have enough Chromebooks and devices to meet all the needs of our students, it looks like, but I am wondering about actual connectivity. Do we have a sense of who needs hotspots? You know, what are the numbers on folks that still just don't have that connectivity?
This is where it gets hard about who wants to answer that question, because I can't see everybody as well. We have reached out and we're trying to help people in a multiple ways, because with access points being opened up, even in almost this umbrella effect that they're putting over some areas, we're seeing less of a need for the hotspots than we thought we would have before. So we're really working closely with that. That's been a conversation I've had with other superintendents as well. They bought thousands of hotspots and they haven't had to use as many as they thought they would have. So that's something that we're continuing. We purchased a number of hotspots. We still have some available. So when someone identifies that they need them, we get those to those folks.
So that's great. So it doesn't sound like we have a waiting list of kids that just don't have access. We have some tools. That's great.
If I could just chime in, we are also monitoring who is engaged and who isn't, because if a student's not engaged, that's where we need to follow up on. And so it's possible that we don't know yet if a student needs a hotspot, but we're monitoring as we launch distance learning. And so as students are absent, we'll be following up to see if they have a need around that.
That makes a lot of sense. Now that it's mandatory, we'll get a better sense of who's checking in. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. Another thought, and it's more of a comment, I just want to show appreciation or speak appreciation to the responsiveness on social media. I know San Juan Unified School District gets tagged in a lot of posts, and I try to be very responsive on social media as well. But folks have noticed that. A lot of community members have been thrilled to get very quick responses. And I know that you get tagged a lot, or we get tagged a lot. So I'm just appreciative of that. Really excited about the conversations that are about to get started in the way of graduation. My heart is broken for the class of 2020. I mean, what an end cap. But I think that with some creativity, I mean, I don't think it'll be what it could have been, you know, what happened for, you know, others in the past. But I think with some creativity, there's a lot of will, and we could do something. We could be sort of supportive of something. So I'm really excited that those conversations are going to kick off. And I know a lot of parents and students are going to be happy to hear this news. So I'm going to be excited to share that with the community soon. And my last comment is, I just want to point out a bright spot. You know, education is generally is very based on time in seats. And although this is tragic how we got here, and I don't mean to minimize that, the exploration of competency-based learning in the way of you get your assignment, you demonstrate your competency, and you move on, you get, you know, as opposed to just time in seat. Because we do know, you know, kids learn different things at different rates. If people can move along faster or don't need it, it could move kids along faster if they want to. And I'm just excited to continue to explore that potential bright spot for learning in the future. And that's it for me.
Ms. Creason, I would add to that last point you made as well. There's an opportunity for education to pivot and possibly change. Now, there are some hurdles that we face in terms of when you talked about the seat-based instruction and even how we're funded based on seat-based instruction. But we've already started some conversations. I had them shortly after this happened with SJTA about what kind of opportunity could this allow us moving forward. And I think, and Ms. Bassinelli has been exploring that as well. How does this allow us to pivot? And not that it would be for all, but I think there is an opportunity for some students to kind of be educated a little differently than the historical model we've had forever. So that is something that we will continue to look at and have that conversation with our partners.
I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Ms. Creason. Dr. McKibben.
First of all, to our teachers, if you would have asked them 3 months ago if they would have been spending their time doing distance learning and that sort of thing, this is a major step, and to see that 2,700 of our teachers went into some kind of training to get their skills up and for this new platform is just amazing to me. When I looked at the comments, the voices, and the one person from the Ukrainian community that just absolutely tore me up and so forth. So reaching out to the community has been really impressive too. I do have a couple of questions. Board member Acosta and I were part of the Region 6 California School Boards Association meeting the other day, and we were sharing what each of the districts were doing. And one of the things that came up from some of the other districts was that in some cases they actually had to buy Chromebooks in order to meet the needs and so forth. And I assume that from what you've said that we're going to be able to avoid that. But one of the other things that they said was particularly disturbing in terms of at least 2 of the districts were estimating that they did not think they would get back as much as 50% of the Chromebooks in the same shape that they went out in. Are we doing anything, or are we making any kind of projections like that in terms of our stash of Chromebooks after this process and after this period is over?
Well, I would say it's hard to predict. I mean, I've had this conversation with other districts, and the numbers that they project that they won't get back or that will come back damaged is much lower than that. You know, a lot of us are thinking it'll be somewhere in the 20-25% range. That still will be a significant drop in the number of Chromebooks that would be out there. The interesting thing is we've done replacements for Chromebooks. We used to think their life expectancy was like X number of years, and then we'd replace them. We actually have a fair amount of Chromebooks that have lasted a lot longer than they were expected, and we were actually kind of moving them out of the system. So we've been using those as well. We more or less had 40,000 Chromebooks in the district. But I do believe next fall, we are going to have to probably make a significant purchase. And we've already started having those conversations. I know in talking with Peter in Technology Services, we have some more devices that we've ordered that were kind of the replacements for last year. And those will be coming in already. So we have some new ones that we get each year.
And finally, I've been watching the governor's briefings and so forth, and the other people, and people talking about our campuses being closed. And sometimes they say our schools are closed. Well, correction, our schools aren't closed at all. The learning is going on, and though we may not have people on campus, I'm really impressed with what we've been doing over the last 18 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. First, is Melanie still on the line?
Yes, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I was so excited that we were able to include student voice and student participation in this meeting. I think it was just a very large cherry on top that it was your report and that it was kids helping kids work. But first, I'm curious, can you say a little bit more about your plans in the fall and what you might plan to study?
Yes, of course. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Hernandez, for congratulating me earlier. Sorry, my mic was on mute. But thank you. Yes, I have officially enrolled at Harvard, and I will probably be pursuing an economics concentration there or a social studies one. But I'm trying to gear it more towards international relations, whatever I do end up doing.
Those all sound like very busy and interesting fields. So you'll have quite the ride ahead of you. I also just want to say a personal thank you to Kids Helping Kids. I shared this last year after the gala, or I think it was actually after the competition at Golden One, the fundraising competition that happens. I can't recall.
Yes, Fast Pitch. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fast Pitch, exactly. Where Kids Helping Kids came in first, which was tremendous. But I actually have been sheltering in place and staying at home long before the governor's orders because I fall into that high risk category, and that is due to a pediatric cancer myself and being a pediatric cancer survivor. And that is a tough road normally. And I myself depended heavily upon, quite frankly, the good gracious and goodwill of a local, very small nonprofit that really helped keep a roof over my head at that time. And so I personally know the impact that you're having, but I can only imagine it being tenfold during this crazy, crazy time where going through something extraordinarily difficult is made that much harder. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all of your work, and I hope you'll extend that to the team as well.
I definitely will do. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's truly very touching, so thank you.
Well, thank you, and we remain, I think, as a board and as a district, very proud of you, so keep up the great work. Back to the presentation, one of the questions I had, and Melissa, you answered it, I think, almost in full or in part, and that's this question around how do we measure participation. I am just the kind of the students in the back of my mind constantly, and right before I go to bed every night are the ones that can't or are not logging on to our classrooms and are not participating. And I'm just curious if you can speak to plans either in development or down the road to sort of strengthen that metric and then hopefully have it inform some of our actions either in the summer or in the fall.
Yeah, we're working on providing guidance to our teachers around participation, but what we're specifically looking at is for them to help cue administrators and office staff and school counselors when a student's not participating. So for example, they haven't heard from them for the week. And so then allowing us to do outreach to the family to see how we might re-engage them back, knowing that our families are dealing with a myriad of potential issues ranging from complications with digital divide to potential childcare or having to work as an essential worker or having healthcare issues of their own or just stress and mental health during this time. So we're assembling all of our support staff so that we have all hands on deck to support teachers with outreach, knowing that our teachers are really going to be focused on implementing distance learning. So we want to support them doing what they're doing and connecting with our kids. And then we want to follow it up on the back end to ensure that we have proper safety nets for students.
Great, thank you for that background. I appreciate it. And I just want to express that that's certainly a metric that I'm interested in is kind of the ones that are not showing up in the electronic classrooms and the Google classrooms and all of those items. And the other thing I wanted to mention was can we pull up the slide with the hub again?
Trent, do you want me to do that or?
Yeah,
sorry.
Try and do it, Melissa. Go. It'll take just a second.
Thank you.
Oops. Paula, did you want the Family Resource Hub?
I did. This is exactly what I wanted to say. I just, all of the words on this paper looks just so simplified and like it was easy to throw together, but I just want to acknowledge the hard and tremendous work that goes into each of these components in order to get them up and running. This was incredibly expansive, and while I think we all acknowledge that there's always more work to do. I know I was just absolutely thrilled to see the hub's existence, but then also to see the content populated with so many resources for our families. There's certainly nothing that can replace our in-person and at a school site services, but I just want to acknowledge and how excited I am about this piece in particular, that we really are going above and beyond and taking the considerations of our families and students as they navigate this difficult time. I mean, the 211 line, the Sacramento mental health crisis line, Health on Wheels. I mean, all of these are just tremendous resources, and I know this is a big step. We still have there's still a couple of steps in terms of getting our parents and our families to engage on this piece. But even seeing the local food banks, which, you know, I know has been an incredible partnership with our district. I just really wanted to say thank you to the team for pulling this together. I think that's the only slide I'll be referencing, so I think it's okay to go back to the screenshot view. I almost hesitate to start enumerating staff and divisions out of fear of forgetting someone, but I just want to express my biggest thanks to the team that has really been moving mountains since as soon as we got the green light to go, and particularly on the nutrition and health and food side of things. There was I don't think there was a single suggestion that I had that hadn't already been considered and acted upon and expanded in ways that I hadn't even considered. And I think for this crowd, it's probably not news, but I've been at the forefront of this response effort in my professional capacity for what seems like a lifetime, but since January at this point. And really, when we talk about what the safety net looks like, and when we talk about food in particular, making sure that our children don't go hungry during this time, these programs are the backbone of all of the efforts that we provide, and really the food banks and deploying the National Guard to help at our food banks and do all of those, that comes secondary. This truly is the front line. So I just want to say thank you to all of our staff, and I hope you know how quote unquote essential you are to this entire community and to all of our students and to all of our parents and to all of our families. There will always be more we can do and ways to improve, but we really hit the ground running, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Paula, if I can jump in here real quick, I want to thank Melanie again for sticking around, and I also want to thank Kimberly Heck. Appreciated the time she put in putting that video together, and I know she was available as well. Kimberly and I started, well, when I was at Will Rogers, she was actually a classified employee back in the day. So it's neat to see her move from that position to now being a leader amongst teachers. And so just again, the amazing work that our teachers are doing, and I appreciate the comments from the board, because you know it is making a difference for our students. So thank you.
With that, seeing no other questions or comments, I think we are done with our first item of business. With that, we are at item I2, California Voting Rights Act, public hearing number 2, regarding the potential composition of by-trustee areas. Ms. Simlick, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, and good evening, President Velasquez, board members, and Superintendent Kern. Before any presentation, I'd like to reintroduce Michelle Cannon, partner at Lozano Smith, who wishes to address the board on this subject.
Thank you, Ms. Simlick. Good evening, board members. I wanted to give a quick update to the board about the most recent executive order, which was issued by Governor Newsom, that impacts the board's decision to move forward with the public hearing tonight regarding transitioning to by-trustee area elections at this time. As you'll recall, the Elections Code provides really strict timelines that a public agency must follow when transitioning from at-large to by-trustee area elections. The district has been proceeding in accordance with those timelines to this date. However, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Newsom has expressly recognized that holding these hearings now may not be in the best interest of the health and safety of our local communities. As a result, he's issued 2 executive orders, the most recent one just on April 9th, 2020, expressly tolling the timelines related to these hearings. In the most recent executive order, and that's order N-48-20, Governor Newsom explained his reasoning behind tolling these timelines as follows, and I'm quoting here. Holding these hearings in the near future at a time when public health requires that Californians stay home except for essential needs would threaten public health and safety and would force Californians to choose between fully participating in their democratic process and safeguarding their own health and safety, as well as the health and safety of their communities. Part 2 of his order reads, and again, I'll be quoting here, the timeframes set forth in the Elections Code, Section 1010, Subdivision A and E, are suspended as to any political subdivision of the state. The purpose of this suspension is to protect public health and safety during the period when the state public health officer and other public health officials have determined that it's necessary to engage in physical distancing to minimize the spread of COVID-19. This suspension shall be in effect until further notice. And the final part I wanted to read for you, again quoting, this paragraph pauses the timeframe set forth in Elections Code, Section 1010, Subdivision A and E, but does not restart them. This paragraph should be construed to toll those timeframes such that days elapsed during the suspension set forth in this paragraph are not counted, but any days that elapsed prior to that suspension are still counted. And what this means is the executive order does not delay these timelines indefinitely, but instead tolls them, or pauses them is maybe another word to use instead of tolling, pauses them, tolls them until a time where social distancing recommendations have been lifted at the state and local level. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor has expressly recognized that it's not in the best interest of the health and safety of our local communities to hold these hearings right now. Thank you for giving me time to give you that quick update.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cannon, for that overview of Executive Order N-48-20. And as you just provided the information for, Governor Newsom has clearly stated his intent and expectation of protecting the health and safety of our neighbors and communities while also maintaining the spirit of democracy in all elections-related activities. We cannot meaningfully seek proper input from our communities on such an important issue in a safe manner at this time. I personally thank the governor for his leadership and this direction that appropriately maintains our democratic processes while maintaining the health and safety of our communities. Mr. Kern.
Thank you, President Villescaz. Based on the information that Ms. Cannon has shared in relation to the governor's executive order, we will be pulling item I-2 at this time. We will be bringing back information to the board on April 28th, detailing the next steps in this process. And I believe Mr. Allen has a statement he's going to make.
Thank you, Superintendent Kern. We did receive 2 comments for the public hearing via email. I believe both those individuals are actually on the call with us as well. And for those who might have wanted to participate in the public hearing, since that item is being pulled, we will not be having the public hearing. There is a public comment period at the end of the agenda, item L, and we would invite you to stay around. There are only 2 short business items before we get to that, and we will offer general public comment under item L as well.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. With that, we are at item I-3, Williams report. Ms. Simlick.
Thank you. Again, good evening, President Villescaz, board members, and Superintendent Kern. Education Code Section 35186 requires that district staff report to the board at a regularly scheduled board meeting concerning any Williams-type complaints and the resolution of those complaints that have been filed with the district. I am pleased to report that for the quarter January through March 2020, there were no Williams complaints filed with the district. Thank you.
Do any board members have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we are at item I-4, proposed board meeting dates for 2020-2021. Mr. Kern?
Thank you very much. And this item is an action item where we are looking at the dates for next year. And so those dates are listed there. And so we're we're asking the board to take action to approve the proposed board meeting dates for 2020-2021 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. Do any board members have questions or comments about next school year's board meeting dates?
Move the item.
There's been a motion to approve the board meeting dates for the 2020-2021 school year by Dr. McKibben. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Costa. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Mr. Hernandez, at least I need a head nod at least. Okay. All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. With that, we are at item J, board reports. Mr. Hernandez, you feel free to pass, but I will just kind of.
I'll pass. I'm going to pass.
Okay, sorry. Ms. Costa?
Hi, thank you. I would like to add to Mr. Simmons' comments about Russ Abraham. I met Russ as a first-year principal when his principal and I were assigned as principal buddies and for a project with West Ed. And so we walked classrooms together on a regular basis and attended each other's awards assemblies and special events. And when I walked on Dewey's campus and saw Russ with his students, there was not a student in his class who wasn't engaged. And he created such a love of music with those students. It was truly beautiful. When you went to Russ's rock and roll show, it was as much fun for the students participating as it was for the audience, and everybody walked out with huge smiles on their faces. In terms of, at the same period of time, I was assigned to do the prep scheduling for the district, and Russ pulled me aside and he said, you know, you can create a schedule on paper and it'll be fine and it'll work, but you can become a true advocate for the arts through how we do arts education through specialists. And his comments really made a difference in how I created that schedule. And I don't think anybody knew that Russ was the person, along with a few others, who had the courage to call and say, hey, this is the way it should be done. So when I saw the video of the students on the top of the roof of Mercy San Juan Hospital and heard them singing, it made me realize Russ was one of those people who made a sincere difference in every student's life. He was an amazing teacher. He was an extraordinary musician, but most importantly of all, he was an exemplary human being to everybody he met. So I just want us all to remember there are so many heroes in the educational profession, and I hope that everybody appreciates the amazing teachers in San Juan. Thank you.
Ms. Creason?
I think I'll pass tonight, but I do just want to acknowledge my heart, my love, my respect goes out to Russ's family and friends and the community that's been incredibly touched by his passing.
Dr. McKibben.
On one of my other Zoom activities, I'm a member of the Orangeville Community Council, and we had an occasion to have Congressman Vera on a connection with us, and that, along with the death of Mr. Abraham, makes me realize just how very much it is that we have to be about the safety of our teachers, our students, and our community, and so I just want to say again, please stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McKibben. And I also just want to offer my warmest thoughts to the family and students and community all impacted by Russ. And thank you, Ms. Costa, for the lovely tribute to him. In my day job, one of the first things we review every morning is the fatality count from the day before. And every day we're reminded that there's a life and there's a story behind every single one of those. And so while as a state we're doing a good job, we have to keep doing better. And we have to keep maintaining the safety of our communities and our neighborhoods and giving everybody an equal shot to make it through this totally absurd event. With that, we are at item K, future agenda items. Do any board members wish to add any items to the future agenda? I'll give everybody a quick pause. Looks like we are okay on that front. In that case, we are now at item L, visitor comments. We're making a return to visitor comments. I want to invite in a moment Mr. Allen to kind of go over the rules of participating and public comment here in our Zoom platform. And I'll just offer, before he does that, a quick reminder that I'd like to remind the public that comments are limited to 2 minutes. With that, Mr. Allen, would you mind revisiting our rules of participation on the platform, please?
I would be happy to. If you would like a 2-minute segment to offer a public comment on an item that was not on tonight's agenda, we would invite you to do so now by raising your hand. To do so, if you click the participant button at the bottom of the Zoom screen, that will open your participant window to the right generally, or in a floating window. At the bottom of that, you will see a raise hand button. If you click the raise hand button, that will indicate that you'd like to give a public comment at this time, and we will provide you with 2 minutes to do so.
We'll go ahead and get started with Wando, who is now available and raising his hand. Wando, you can now unmute your microphone and your 2 minutes will begin.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Forgive me for my informality. Wando is just kind of a nickname for Juan Inigas, which you know me. Sometimes I'm a little bit too frivolous. I'm sorry about that. I think given the length of this meeting and all that has gone on, I'm just going to not make any comments per se, other than to ask the board members and superintendent and senior staff to just read my comments, think about them, and then we'll reconvene. When we reconvene, we'll work on this again. So I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Inigas. I'm going to give folks a little bit more time to indicate their desire to speak. Again, you can do so by quote unquote raising your hand on our Zoom platform. Okay, seeing no other visitor comments. We do not need to return to closed session. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight's meeting. Our next meeting is April 28th. Public session will be at 6:30 p.m. We invite you to attend again. It will be on the Zoom platform. You can log in by visiting www.sanjuan.edu/April28. Thank you.